if you find yourself with your phone 24/7 and you're constantly on your phone, you don't have to be excessive and do 7-8 days, but maybe try one day where you're not answering your phone right away and you're not replying right away, right? And you're limiting your time. Live in the moment, live in the present, live in the current experience that you're having. Every experience you have is important, especially with your kids.
Hit it! That's what I'm talking about. Wait!
Okay, now, from the beginning.
All right, this is Real Talk with Carmen Costa. Today is going to be a little bit different. Back from vacation, a little bit tan, so I wore a short sleeve. I'm like, because I never wear short sleeves, so there's a little bit of a tan.
A little bit of a tan, a little bit.
I don't really, like, I burned. So I actually tanned, which I was surprised. I'm like, I actually did tan. See, I did. But anyways, I thought that I would do something different. You know, like I didn't have my phone that week. I left my phone at home.
Yeah.
It was off, which was kind of weird for a lot of people. I had a lot of people reach out to me after the fact. They thought something was wrong. So first time I can't even remember that my phone was completely not near me.
So did you actually leave your phone at home, or did you just give it to Zervain and say, here it is, but don't give it to me?
No, I didn't have my phone at all with me. So at all, like zero. I left the house and I was like anxious. So I remember like getting into the car because we drove two separate cars because we had the kids and my mother-in-law. And we all couldn't fit with the way I pack. Ridiculous. So I packed way more. So for my second trip in August, my phone will be on. But for my second trip, I know what not to pack. I wore it was ridiculous. So anyways, it's the first time in like 2 years. So, but anyways, we went in two separate cars. But I remember, you're right, like the disconnect with the phone, like I didn't have the security that it was next to me.
So was there anxiety?
There was heavy anxiety, like really bad. Zervain did a vlog. I'm in the car and he recorded and he's like, how do you feel over and I'm like, I'm a little anxious. So I have to look at the recording because I'm like, was it bad? Was it not? So he did a lot of vlogs with me. He's like, day 2, how do you feel, Carm? So it's kind of funny because I wanted to talk about this because it's key and important. So we are so distracted with the phone. So for any empty filler, like when you're bored, we pick up our phone. We go on social. It's right?
Everybody.
Okay. So you know how you go into the dollar store, and I get a lot of gifts from the team where they give me like a book of
like a coloring book?
No, like a writing book, just like a writing book where you write notes in that. So I brought that. I brought a bunch of books, and I brought coloring books, right? So I actually did color every morning when I'm usually on my phone, checking like the news, like mortgage news, going through all that to find material for the team if they need it for tips and that. I colored because I'm like, oh my God, I would wake up first of all, why am I waking up at 4:30? Don't ask. So I'd get up at 4:30, make my espresso. The one day the kids asked, they were like, Mom, can you just stay in bed because you walk like an elephant and it's too loud and you're waking everybody up at 4:30 and then it takes a while for us to fall asleep again. So the one day I was like, fine, I'll stay in bed till at 7. Oh, that was so hard. Like I meditated for an hour, which was good. Then I got out of meditation. It was 5:30, and then I'm like, I have to be here for like another hour and a half. Usually I'm outside having an espresso. Yeah, so I'm like, no, this is too much. But we're always preoccupied, right? So I found that I was like, oh my God, I have so much time. So, as a kid, you would doodle. Mm-hmm. You'd be like, the end. Or you would like draw pictures. Yeah. So I'm going to give you some shots of that. I keep saying to people, like the team's like, send the damn shots, right?
Okay.
Of my pictures and my art. It is hilarious, Jamie. I am not an artist. So I'm like, when I got back, I have a bucket list. I created a bucket list of things I want to do. So I've reached out to a couple of people. I'm starting my bucket list. Art is one of them.
Oh boy. Here we go.
Jamie, when you see this, you're going to die. So I did a lot of drawing. So every morning the kids would wake up to be like, Mom, what was your drawing? Because at night I'd have the light on and I'd be drawing because I didn't have nothing else to do. I'm like, I might as well draw. I colored enough all day. So I would draw. And it was just interesting.
Okay.
It's like grade 3 drawing, stick people, like.
Wow.
I tried. So, but I want to say my creative side.
There was an attempt.
There was a big attempt. But I realized that by day 4, I was okay. I was all right. And now I find that I don't need the phone. Like at night, I do my and I'm in bed early. Like I fall asleep. I don't even bring the phone into my room anymore.
So you're saying that unplugging for a week has now made you not reach for the phone as much?
You know what, Jamie? I'm not anxious. I don't have anxiety. I don't have that anxiousness of I need to see who messaged me. I'm not anxious. I found that I was so anxious. Like I was always like anxious.
I noticed that I messaged her this morning and she didn't answer back.
No, I don't look at my phone. That's what I'm saying. I'm not anxious with looking at my phone. I'm not on my phone 24/7. I will be answering accordingly. I'm in the moment now. So if I'm this morning I met with Prachi. Shout out to Prachi. He loves Prachi. So I was with Prachi, meeting with him, talking to him. I do not engage in my phone. So my phone will be face down.
It's true.
I used to have face up where I'd be like, oh, at least I know who's messaging me. Now I really am present in the moment. I think my kids were sick of it. They were like, oh my God, do you have your phone yet? Like somebody give her phone. Where I was like, okay, guys, let's go outside and do this. Let's play. Okay, so with my young ones, I can't play board games. Like they're out of control. Like they mess up a board game. So they're not in that age group to be doing it.
They're not there yet, yeah.
No, they're too young, right? So, but I realized the connection with the kids, like sitting down and actually having conversations. I realized Matani, my stepson, he talks a lot. I'm like, wow, I really never realized he talks a lot, but I knew his whole life story like all over again. I'm like, wow, this is crazy. But Zareen's like, I just don't think we give him the opportunity to because he talks a lot.
Because we're busy with work and all that.
So
we don't even
busy.
realize it.
I know. Yeah. And like, that's what I'm saying. So when I get off work, I try to unplug and not be excessively on the phone. So I will 100. And then now I'm watching TV, Jamie. This is funny. So I'm watching on TV. I'm not doing this. Oh, I'm watching my phone. Yeah. I'm watching on TV a show because I feel like when I'm on my phone, you see the bing. And I know you could do the do not disturb. I still just don't want to have that in my face. So I watch TV. So I'm watching TV, and I'm watching a show on the TV now.
I just feel like these phones, they creeped into our lives in a way that, at first, a phone was just a phone, and then you started having little games, and then it started having the ability to read email, and then all of a sudden the games got better, and then social media came in, and then so all of these things just started slowly creeping in.
And then it becomes like normal. Like it's like I'm not even gonna lie. Listen, I love my kids, I love my husband, but around the campfire they all had their phones. So like I'm like, no, we're not going out there to have fun because I'm the only one sitting there like making s'mores for everybody. I'm like, no, we're not doing this. Like
I did
not
that
happening.
this week.
Yeah, s'mores are awesome. So I'm like, no, put your phones away. Like this isn't fair to me. And then everybody would be like laying in bed. I'm like, no, like this isn't fair. Like, and then I'm like, what am I gonna do? Stick people. But yeah, so there's a better, like what I'm saying is it did improve even like with my bedtime routine with the kids. Judge me for being that mom, but not anymore. Like I said to the kids, I read a bedtime story now, and I'm like, and I was saying to little Z, I'm like, Mommy used to read Petey to you all the time. Shout out to Petey. That's such a great book. But I used to read Petey and I'd act out Petey to him and he loves it. Now I tell him stories about when he was born in the hospital, about him being, when he had jaundice, and I talked to Zendaya and I'm actually telling them stories when they were younger. Like it's amazing. And I said to Zareen, because they're like, so my son jumps into bed. He's like, tell me another story. Tell me what, so I love that. I love that we reconnected and we were able to do that. And I was able to not be obsessively with the phone, and it's sad because we all are that person. Even if you say you give yourself times and all that stuff, I found myself this week on it. Like I was like I fell back into the trap of reels. I'm like, no, I'm not doing reels anymore. Not happening. So I stopped that. I was like, no, can't do that. I don't want to fall back into that pattern because it's exactly what you said. It's creeped in and it stayed here and it's taken up our attention. We were out at, we went to a market. I love going to little markets in the towns that you're in when you're on vacation. But we went to this market and everybody's head was down. I'm like, this is a beautiful market, fresh fruit, fresh vegetables. It's like a blessing. And people are like this.
And I feel like it really cut off that interaction that people used to have. Like
100%.
I remember when I used to take the TTC, the public transportation, it was, people would sometimes start talking to you, or like conversations would break
everybody.
out.
Oh, and that's another thing. I talked. Zervain's like, you talk to everybody. I did.
But now you can't. Everybody's looking at their screen, so nobody's gonna go, "Hey, excuse me," because you don't know if that person's doing something important or whatever.
I'm trying to watch this.
Yeah,
I'm watching my show. Like it's funny because you realize even like I'm an observer. Like I observe my kids, right? So even like my parenting style, it changed. I was watching my kids and watching how each of them navigate. And by by the 4th or 5th day, the kids are sick and tired of each other, right? Because you're in a cottage, so you're constantly around. It's us, right? So, Matheny became a little bit annoyed with little Z, and it was funny because I'm an observer. I don't jump into an argument. I'm like my parents. When we were younger.
You've become your parents.
I know, and it's okay. It's not fine. I'm an observer. I wait to see how the kids react to situations. I don't intervene. So I watch from afar. And this one incident, I was telling one of the agents on the team about this. I was tired. So I'm like, I'm going to go take a nap. Usually I sat by the pool. I'm like, I'm going to go take a nap, right? So I went to go take a nap, but like something I was like, I should watch the pool. The 2 boys were in there. Matheny was already frustrated with little Z. So he's whipping the ball and he's trying to hit little Z, right? And little Z's like, la, 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 and he's getting hit, right? So by the 5th hit, I'm like, okay, like now you see he's mad at his brother. So I go out there and I'm like, hey, buddy, what are you doing? Like you're trying to hit him, right? And Zervain's like, your parenting style's funny. He's like, I would have stopped it right at the first one. I'm like, I think I just wanted to see how far he was going to go, right? But then second of all, I'm looking at my son. I'm like, can you like block yourself? Like, come on. And he's like, I was just having fun.
Kids
you
are
know
amazing.
it, man. You know it, right? So, But I feel like I want to do more of that. I find that we don't listen to our, like, I know that I was this parent, like, and I'm mentioning me, and I'd be like, if one of the kids were like this, and you're going to die when you hear this. So if one of the kids were like, he hit me, as a kid, we were like, he hit me. And then the parents would just be like, if you're the youngest, you were right. Yeah. So last week I had time. I was like, okay, the investigation team's open, right? So I went and I took witness testimony from each person that was involved. God. It was the best. But in the end, I want to throw this out here. So everybody got heard, like they were heard. And in the end, the little one, the baby that said that he did this to me, she confessed that she's like, I just wanted to get him in trouble. So Zervain's like, how did you do that? I'm like, I feel like we should change our parenting style because you know how it was, right? Like, don't do that to her, don't hit her. But we were those younger ones, right?
Yeah.
And so it was funny because my mother-in-law couldn't even her face, like she was dying because I'm like, Mom, I'm taking your testimony. She's like, I don't see nothing. She's like, I don't see nothing. Don't get me involved.
She's
right?
the innocent bystander. I didn't see anything. What happened?
She's like, but I was crying. Like what became like where kids were fighting, they were all like, we were all laughing. That's what I'm saying to you. It's just the mood was lighter, and we're always tied to our phones that we're so preoccupied that we don't enjoy the moment up front, right? So I had the book, I was drawing something, so I'm like, I'm going to do a private event. And I had my little recorder. So I think like it was awesome. It was just such great experiences, little experiences that were happening that I was like, if I had my phone, I wouldn't have been able to do that. I would have been like, Zervain, don't do that. Don't do that to your sister, right? Where I was like, something doesn't seem right with this situation. Like, she did not want to pop that balloon. I'm like, it was popping her balloon. He popped, but she did it. She popped it and blamed it on him. So I'm like, man, she's so smart. How did she know to do that? Yeah, she framed him. Yeah, so anyway, she framed him. But yeah, so I figured it out. But that's what I'm trying to tell you.
So are you limiting screen time now?
100%. I 100% am limiting screen time not because I'm that parent where like, I just wanted, because last week was such an eye opener and it was so much fun. Like that whole investigation, just observing the kids and watching and getting to know them, like even getting to know them. My son is hilarious. Like Zervain is so brilliant. Like some of the things he would ask and I'd be like, yeah, go ask Google. And then we would investigate together. We're like, let's ask Google together. I think he was asking about, I think it was the deep sea, like how far does the sea, like the depth of the sea. And I'm like, why does he want to know that? But then we started to look into statues in the sea. And then we started to look at stuff like that. And the funny part is like, Zervain, I'm like, Zervain, can I have your phone? He's like, nope, you're not supposed to have a phone. I was like, the first couple of days I was desperate. I'm like, let me hold your phone for 5 minutes. Yeah.
The police phone.
No, but the kids started getting into it. So Zendaya, on the last day, I went to grab the phone on my mother-in-law just to look at what the weather was like. She's like, you're not supposed to have the phone, mommy. You're not. So I'm like, that's amazing, right? Like they're saying it to me. But I would highly recommend. The only reason why I wanted to do this segment, just to bring it out there, is if you find yourself with your phone 24/7 and you're constantly on your phone, maybe try one day. You know what I mean? Like you don't have to be excessive and do 7-8 days, but maybe try one day where you're not answering your phone right away and you're not replying right away, right? And you're limiting your time. And if you're with somebody, and here's, because I noticed a lot of this. So, everybody that I talk to, when you're talking to somebody, the least you can do is give them the respect. When somebody is like this, talking, I'm like, it's bothersome. So, live in the moment, live in the present, live in the current experience that you're having. Every experience you have is important, especially with your kids. The kids grow up so fast, right? And
you're telling me.
It's crazy. And you want to just live in your moment, like Jamie, you're going away, like take the time with your kids. Yeah. You know what I mean? If you have that opportunity, do it. Like I would so do it because, they're going to grow up really fast and they're going to do exactly what you did to them. They're going to be on their phone when you're older. Right. So, I would do that. It's honestly, it was a fun week. I really did a lot of coloring. I did a lot of drawing. The drawings are out of control.
We're going to have to see all of these.
I'll take pictures. Okay. The drawings are hilarious, but yeah. So I will bring it forth. But I remember as a kid, we used to do the end. Like, I don't know why, but that would be like my trademark, the end. Like, what's the end? I just want to know what the end is. But I started doing that. Like when I was doodling, I didn't because you're on your phone, it's brainless stuff you're doing on your phone. Yeah. And I found that when I was done doodling, I'm like, why do I have the end all over my page? Right? Like that's weird.
You wanted to finish.
Yeah. Let me get my phone back, the end. Anyways, subscribe, hit the bell notification, lets you know when I'm dropping a video. If you have any questions, concerns, DM me, comment below. You're more than welcome. For everybody else, thank you so much for listening. Have an awesome day.
Okay, now.
Are you ready?
So do you want me to start?
Yeah, start. You're going to miss me for a month.
I think I'll be fine.
You say that, but you don't mean it.
Such a bird. What a bird. I'm just kidding. Are you ready?
I'm born ready.